Welcome to Conversations in Between the Realms, a podcast where the mystical meets the everyday. Join Amanda Nova and Beth Renov each week as we dive into the profound journey of awakening, sharing our experiences, insights, and the lessons that guide us toward our divine purpose. Together, we awaken and guide our souls and others, exploring the magic of living in the 3D while staying connected to the higher realms, embracing the challenges, and celebrating the growth. You've been guided here for a reason. Trust in the journey and let the unfolding begin.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Conversations in Between the Realms. I'm Amanda Nova, and I'm here as always with the wonderful and lovely Beth Renov. And today we're going to be talking about adult relationships, adult friendships, as you are going through your spiritual awakening and, when you're on your spiritual journey, and just how people kind of disappear or working through some of those relationships, whether it's familial or it's friendship or it's your significant other. So that's what we're going to be getting into. But first and foremost, I always ask how you are. So how are you? How's it going? Hi.
I'm really feeling the cosmic energy right now, and it's like everything that could go wrong is going wrong. I feel like something karmic is happening because just physically it's like when it rains, it pours. Like
Yeah.
I've just had the weirdest, most random things that I wouldn't like that body rash, like is still here.
Yeah.
You're having the rash too on your hands. Like
Yeah.
all these like weird things. I'm waking up again, like at 5 a.m. I don't know. But I know there's a lot going on. I know that 888 portal, right? Is that the Lionsgate portal?
Yeah, so Lionsgate, there's a full moon this week. There's
Mercury
so much
retrograde
going on. There's like a million things in retrograde. I can't even like keep track. I think like Saturn's in retrograde too. There's like a bunch of things in retrograde. There's so much stuff going on, cosmic. And then before I hopped on here, I posted like the resonance was a little crazy. I haven't been going on about that, but I felt last night like I was like, something is up with this. Like I just feel like something's happening energetically because I was having pressure in my neck, and I don't always get that. In the past couple of days, I've felt super manic too, just like up and down and all over, and this rash on my hands, manic, like
Me
manic.
too.
Yeah, like what? And so I got an alert and from the app that I look at the Schumann resonance, and it was like,
that's your alert system. It's like Schumann resonance is going nuts.
It was like up 43%.
Wow.
Yeah. And just to kind of give context, like normally it's like 3%, it's like, or 5%, like 43% is actually like a lot, but it was only like a short amount of time. So that just,
energy?
yeah, like that's like a high frequency jump, right? Like that's like a lot of high frequency energy coming in, and it was a short blip, but then it moved into like a lot of this, like, so that it looked like white, right? Like there was like a blip of like white, but then it moved into like all this green, and intuitively, like how it was coming through to me and like how I'm feeling it is just like, working through, right? Like calling in and working through the heart space. So it's really about figuring out, and we talked about this last week. So like, I'm not going to go too much into it, but like listen to that episode, but it's about like figuring out what you love and really working through your heart. And that's what it's about. And there's a lot of things falling away that are not aligned with that energy. And that goes into what we're talking about today, like relationships, like friends, and like relationships that are like, as we are moving and we are changing timelines and we are shifting our energy, you might be noticing that you are no longer able to keep some of those relationships that maybe you had since you were younger or at different times, different seasons in your life. And that's what we're going to be talking about right now. And that could be painful.
Yeah. And it also can be really great because the relationship you might be in is really painful, and I'm not even talking about like romantic or family. Like and this is before I was like really in a spiritual awakening. Like I might have been, but I wasn't like aware of it. but there were like people in my life and I'd just be like a magnet for them. And they would be like obsessed with me in a way, not like they want to be me, but they just like want to be hang around with me. They were like leeches.
Mhm.
They were energy
Yeah.
vampires. And they would like
Yeah.
suck you out. They were really like they knew your vulnerable points and they would like kind of jump on you
Mhm.
then. And like I could not get rid of them. They were literally like a leech where you had to like pull
Yeah.
them off and get rid of them. And like one girl specifically, it was the hardest relationship to break. And like I was friends with her when I was in a really bad depression and she just like always wanted to come over and I wasn't going anywhere. I was just like I'm like I am not leaving this apartment, but if you'd like to come over, like I don't really care, but she would never leave. Like she overstayed her welcome. No one liked this girl. She was so inappropriate. Like she had a UTI and she would like show people her results. Like it's like why are you carrying that around?
What?
That's so freaking weird. And I just
What?
like had such a hard time getting rid of her out of my life because I felt guilty because
Mhm.
every friend she had dropped. And that is like a red
Yeah.
flag. Like if you're someone's only friend, first of all, that responsibility is just too much on one person. But that is a sign. Like I was like, well, I feel badly. Like she has no friends. There's a reason for it.
Mhm.
And I had to like energetically break those cords and those ties and really cut her out of my life. And it was hard. There was
Yeah.
like, it wasn't just like a one thing, it was like very, very much energy. And it was
Yeah.
like an energy. I had to go to someone and have them cut the cord because like whatever I was doing was not enough. And I wasn't even really into this stuff yet.
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes it's not even on your spiritual awakening. It's just these people. If you notice they're really like, you're like, I don't even want this person in my life. I just can't get rid of them.
Mhm.
Like, and then I finally get rid of her. And every time I have like a death, like when my dog died, when my grandma died, she would just like come back in. She like knew your vulnerability.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah,
just
they
like
can
you had,
smell it. Yeah,
they
they
can
can smell it.
smell it,
Yeah,
you know?
because they're vampires. Yeah, they can smell it.
And just would come back in and I'd have to block it, you know? It was so easy for them to like come back in, her to come back in and like say something and I'm in a vulnerable place and I like
Mhm.
appreciate it, but then she uses it as an opening,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, oh, like I've never been happier to get someone out of my life. I'm going to be honest. But
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're pretty good with boundaries. I
yeah,
feel like
I
it's
wasn't though.
yeah. And it's been I've had a lot of people like that and you've instructed me through cutting cords like, doing some of these and some of it does come from past lives. Like some of the
Yes.
people in our life now are from past life relationships and cutting those cords like we were just doing a session the other day and something came up, right? I don't know if that was last week
It was
where
last
somebody was
week.
like stalking me, like
Yes.
obsessed with me. And this was like from a past life. And Beth was like, this person is all over you. Like they're imitating you. It's all like, and it's really like we weren't really like able to even really pinpoint exactly who it is in this lifetime. It's just the energy of that was still clinging to me from this past life. And like we had to
Yeah.
cut the cords of it. And that is like a real thing. And I feel like there's a lot of people, and I have a lot of clients who are afraid to move forward because they fear that they're going to make other people jealous, which is like a thing, right? They're afraid of competing with other people. There's like all these like things mixed into these friendships like that hold you back from stepping
Right.
into your higher self, which is so interesting and not talked about a lot. Like we talk about the grief of losing those relationships, but we don't talk about how some of those relationships hold us back from stepping into our true identity on this path too.
Right. And there's literally nothing you can do if someone's going to be jealous of you. You can't control someone else's emotions. And that is a form of people pleasing, you know?
Mhm.
And you can't live your life because someone else might feel something. You have to prioritize your own feelings. It doesn't mean be inconsiderate of someone else's feelings. And listen, if it's going to hurt someone, like because you're doing something wrong, that's a different thing. But if you're living your life and advancing your career, I get this a lot of my clients is like, when they're in a relationship, they feel bad when their friends
Mhm.
aren't. And it changes the dynamic, because you're
Yeah.
in this relationship. How do you balance your friendship still? Because it's normal when you get into a relationship to want to spend like every minute with that person,
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like you don't stop your life and not go date someone and start a family, like, and
Yeah.
get on that trajectory because someone else isn't there. It's like, okay, it's like, how do I balance like being in this relationship or stepping into this career? Maybe someone else isn't motivated enough, but that's their work to do. That's
Mhm.
not your work, and you cannot do other people's work for them.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people worry about leaving their significant other behind, and I get a lot of that
Mm.
in my sessions with people as well, and they really worry about doing the spiritual work and their partner not doing that work. And I've had that come up a lot of times, and they'll say to me like, I had mentioned it once. I had a client who did a session with Joshun, and they were like asking like, why am I, with this person? I've been married to them for years and they deeply love them, and they're like, their marriage is fine, but they were like, like this person isn't into this at all. And the thing is, and I've probably said this on here before, because you and I are both married to people who aren't really into this stuff, but they allow us to be who we are. I need my husband to ground me.
Mm-hmm.
I would be in the ethers floating around if he wasn't the rock that kept me solid. But I don't force him to do these things. I don't need him to.
Yeah.
All I need is for him to accept me and let me do me. And I don't feel like I'm advancing on this path like beyond him. Like he's growing in his own thing. Like he doesn't need to
Right.
do the same stuff. As long as he's continuing to grow on his own path, that's like a different thing. If he's not growing at all, and then I am, then that's a conversation that needs to be had, like
Right.
that's where you maybe like have a check-in and just be like, I'm moving forward, you're not moving forward, but the person doesn't have to be into the same things as you.
Not at all. I think it's actually like, I don't even know how that would work, you know? And the only thing I would say is, but that's just like a marriage or a relationship is you start in one place and you will grow. You will become different because that is literally evolution of the soul, of being a person in this human in this life. But if you feel like you're being judged, because your partner is
Mhm.
like just doesn't get it, yeah, that can be a really big problem. But that's not isolated to just being spiritual and stepping into your spirituality.
Yeah.
That could be anything,
Yeah.
and that is really a reflection of, growing pains for your partner is, but we were in this box. I like this box. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
And now you're stepping outside the box and I don't know what to expect. This is weird. It's not familiar, and
Yeah.
that's on them. But if it's affecting your daily functioning and you feeling like you can do this, like you might have to have a conversation and it might not be the right relationship. If someone wants to stay exactly where they are, I guess that's okay. But the nature of spirituality is you're ever evolving, you're growing, and you're trying to get to this next place. Someone who wants to be stagnant that is just going to be a relationship like, um make it or break it. What is it?
Yeah. I don't know. And
I
it's
can't.
like not an ultimatum. An ultimatum.
Yeah,
Yeah. But like a deal breaker,
a deal
essentially.
breaker. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes,
and the
make it
thing
or
is
break
that
it.
yeah, to make it or break it. To make it or break it moment. But like I think you mentioned something that's so fascinating to me too, is like this idea of safety, and this is something that so many people have. We have talked about before, like this idea that everybody has these psychic abilities and everybody has their own journey, and whether or not they were persecuted in another lifetime for something that they did, or they witnessed something, or whatever it is, right? Like there is this idea of safety, and I witnessed it really clearly with my mom when she did, the light tapes episode I did with her, and really trying to figure out why it's so challenging for her to accept the massive change in me following my seizure, and her being like, I'm afraid that she's going to be made fun of. because she's trying to protect her daughter. So like her, that all of that comes from her own stuff, being able to maybe not accept herself, right? Judging herself and her fear of this isn't safe. It's not safe for her to show who she truly is and to channel, to speak the way that she does, to do the things that she does. And so like from a familial sense, from a friendship sense, from a significant other sense, like to your point, like yes, it's about them, and sometimes it's like about them maybe feeling like it's not safe, or like there's like all these things wrapped up into it. But again, it's not your stuff to carry, and it's not up to you to shrink yourself to make them feel safe, to make them feel comfortable, to make them feel okay with it. All that you can do is continue to be yourself. What do you feel comfortable with? What do you feel safe with? What makes you feel good and supported and lit up? Because it's your path and your journey. They have to work on their own stuff, and you can give them tools to do that as well, whether they take them or not.
Yeah. And I would argue that sometimes we project and say it's another person that's holding us back, but it's really like the inner or younger version of you that's judging yourself, that's really scared that you're not going to be accepted. And that's really what it's about, is like, well, people hate me. Well, people think I'm weird. Okay, so what if they do? Does that mean that what you're doing is wrong?
Mm-hmm.
No. And I think often we like say, well, this person like is holding me back, but we're really holding ourselves back, because what does it mean if I change and I'm not fully accepted, right? And if I don't fully accept myself, and that is just, that's your work, right?
Right.
And that's where your work
Right.
comes in, and what we talk about all the time on here. But just be careful when you're putting it onto another person. Is it really the other person? If
Right.
you're not doing the work, if you're not moving forward and saying, well, I'm so afraid because they're just not supportive, like this isn't going to work,
Right.
that's you holding yourself back. And I'm not saying that someone else isn't being judgmental, but it's affecting you and triggering a part of you that is also judgmental,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and that can hold you back.
Yeah, and it's a lonely journey sometimes, and there is grief involved, and I think it's okay to grieve the loss of the friendships and the relationships as well, of being like, maybe this isn't right for me right now at this time in my life, and grieving that and being okay with like letting that go and feeling sad about it. Like, I've found my personal journey to be really lonely. And I do think that you find your people the more that you step into your authenticity and your truth of who you are, because that's how you truly attract the people who match that energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that's how you magnetize, right? The people that match that energy. But I've found the journey to be really really lonely because, I haven't always found those people. And by working through things on my own and being an only child, and like I've really done a lot of the work myself, and it's been a lonely journey to do it. And I feel like it is for a lot of people. And I think, that's why you and I have this space. I think it's why we have
Mm-hmm.
our space, our mentorship. I think it's why we do the work that we do, to be able to support people, because it is a lonely journey to go through it
And
by yourself.
that's why we have each other.
Yeah. Also true. Valid.
I'm like, I didn't have anyone tell Amanda that like is
Yeah,
really
that
into
didn't.
this,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I feel like we kind of went on this journey together a little bit,
Yeah.
and it was like our own journey. So yeah, it was isolating. I feel isolated. I felt so isolated from my friends for so long because of what I just said. Like I was so afraid they were going to judge me and that I couldn't relate. But to be honest, the more I've stepped into it, those relationships have actually
Yeah.
gotten better, because they see how happy I am. They see how
Yeah.
me I am again, because I
Yeah.
went through this spot where I was like, everything just doesn't feel right, and then
Hmm.
I became like depressed or anxious because I was just living in someone else's life, like what I
Right.
thought it should be. And when I stepped into myself and really accepted change and stopped like stopped letting fear block me from everything, I became so much more of who I am. And they're like, I've seen, and I literally said, like, talk about manifestation. I was like, I haven't seen people in so long. I've like want to socialize again. I'm not kidding, like an influx. I have nonstop saw people, seen people, and
Yeah.
they're all like, you just seem so calm and so happy. Like, they're like, I'm so happy for you that you are in this place, you know?
Right.
So I think it can be an isolating journey to get there. And by no means am I at an end destination, but I'm just more comfortable on the journey now.
Right, right. Yeah, and I think it's also okay to have different friends for different things.
Yes,
Like, I don't
absolutely.
expect some of my like I don't want to lose some of the friendships that I've had my entire life, but when I stopped expecting them to be into this stuff and to talk to
Mm-hmm.
me about it and to give a shit about it, that's when the friendships and relationships got better because I compartmentalize a little bit, like
Right.
I don't talk about it with them, because I know that it's not their thing and like whatever, I accepted that. That was my acceptance of it. And I still show up as 100% of who I am, but I'm also not expecting or forcing other people to be into it. And also because I have other sides of myself and this isn't the only thing,
Right.
like I, love Bravo and Love Island and all these other things. And like I have friends who I talk to about that stuff, right? Like I don't need to be this version of myself all the time. There's other parts, right? And so like I think that that's kind of also a part of this is like I think people when they start out on their spiritual journey, and we've talked about this too, of like you go into that space of like I can't watch TV, I can't do this, like I have to
Right.
be like this guru, and you go into that space and like I think that maybe hurt some people accidentally when you're there,
Yeah.
right? Because it makes people also question things about themselves, right? Because you're like I'm this and I'm that and I'm super duper spiritual, and like people are like oh my god, like maybe I need to look at myself, like you kind of create that wave. And you get to a point where you're like okay, like I have this side of myself that is into all of the energy and into all of that stuff, but then I also have other sides of myself as well that's connected to younger versions of me, and it doesn't need to be like erased just because I have this
Yeah.
other side.
No, it's just almost like awakening a dormant part of you. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean all the others don't exist. And then just like on the other side of relationships, like kind of talking more about like what I was saying in the beginning is there are people who come along, especially on your spiritual journey, that are like tests. And
Mhm.
it's just like 1 second they're not there, then they're in your life, and you're like, oh my God. And I think they're like archons. They're the archons. And all of a sudden you need them out and you like cut them out and they literally disappear. Like you
Yeah.
don't hear from them, you don't know where they are. Like, and you're just like, was that real?
Yeah,
Like, were they
I'm
a real?
I'm struggling with that right now. Like I keep mentioning that to you. Like I don't know. Like I know that people believe in this idea of like not like NPCs they're called, and I don't know like if it's like non-player characters. I think that that's what it
Okay,
is.
yes.
Yes, okay, like those, and like basically like that these people, this comes from Dolores Cannon, basically saying that there's like people like when you go to the grocery store, like when you go to different places like events, that there's like all these people and they're basically like not they're there but they're like not real, basically that they're just like there. And I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I don't know, but I have felt lately this disappearance of people. And I've always believed in a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I feel like people do come into your life to activate something within you or teach you something. And that's very true. But lately, I have been noticing that people are falling off the face of the earth. And I'm like, okay, like, going through all this work on myself, timeline jumping, and we're not always healing and always working on ourselves, but like right now I'm in a working on myself like phase right now, like in like deep in the work again. And I'm noticing that people are literally gone.
Hmm.
And it's weird, like not seeing them on social media, like not seeing, and I'm just like, was that like, what the fuck is that? Like, that is so bizarre to me. Like, I don't know. I have to
Yeah.
ask Josh Noon. I have
I
to
feel like
ask
that's a
him.
timeline shift and they're just not on it anymore,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But
Like
really
New Earth.
interesting. Right. But what's weird is I've heard a lot of NPCs in a
Mm,
positive way, actually.
mm.
And like my brother had a story about this. He had a really bad doctor when he lived in Miami, and they told him he had cancer, okay, at like 22. And they're like, you need to go to like the hospital immediately. And my brother's like, no, I want to go home and see like my regular doctor. And my mom's like, absolutely not. You're flying home. He's like, flying is a risk. Meanwhile, he had mono. What an off like
Oh my
diagnosis.
God.
But
Jesus.
anyway, when my mom went to like everybody was scared because he didn't get a diagnosis yet, except for this one crazy one. So my mom is going to pick my brother up at the airport, my mom and my dad, and something happened there. And this man came and he was helping them with luggage, and he said something like really profound to them. And they all like had like a chill, and then they turned around and the guy was like nowhere to be found.
My
Like it
God.
was so weird. And then I had another client that was in a car accident, and it flipped and she was stuck. And she said, out of nowhere, someone came, like, undid the seat buckle because that was what, and pulled me out. And when I opened my eyes, the person vanished. So it's
It's,
like I have like
I mean,
tingles
like, are
all over
those
my body.
NPCs or are those
Yes,
guides? Are those like angels? Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I
But
don't
like,
know.
you must have some relationship with them for them to step in that way, right? Like in crisis. Like I don't
Yeah.
know,
I
but
don't
I feel like they're
know.
all connected in a
Yeah, there's
some
gotta
way.
be. I'm curious, like, people definitely write into us about your stories with NPCs. I think I'm gonna put like
Yeah.
something on TikTok and on social media about it because I'm so curious about it. Like, that is so wild to me. And I definitely have to ask. We're gonna do a light
Yes.
tapes next week. So we'll ask Joshun too. Like, I'm really curious about that. Like, I want to know about these NPCs because that is so wild to me. Like, people disappearing off the face of the earth is just crazy. And like, knowing that, like, you're protected to a certain point and these people get sent into your life to teach you something or to show you something or to send you something, send you a message, and then they're gone. And like, again, like, there was this splitting of, new earth timeline and like old earth, and like some people were going one way, some people were going the other way, and like I was like kind of like, is that really happening? And now I'm like, maybe it did really happen. Like, people are literally gone.
Yeah. It's like so bizarre, you
I
know?
know. I
Like I
know.
had like a whole group of friends in Jersey City from the dog park. I don't know where half of them are right now. Like it's so weird. They haven't been on social media. I feel like everybody's moved, but I don't know to where. Like no one really knows where. It's like the most bizarre thing. But on the flip side, like two of my friends I loved so much that I met there, like they weren't in my life one day, and then the next they were like, it was so weird because to talk about past lives, one of them was like we were like lovers in a past life. Like the entire scene
Yeah.
came to me, and it's so weird. And like the minute I met them, I was just like, I know you. Like it was the
Yeah.
weirdest thing. It's like we picked up where we left off like 5 lifetimes ago. It was the
Wow.
most bizarre thing. And they're just this like fixture in my life. Like I can't imagine my life without them. Like they were one of the people, they're a couple, but they like came and slept over. And I'm just like, oh my God, this like feels like home. And it's
Yeah.
so weird that like random strangers, like one day you didn't know them and then all of a sudden they're in your life. And it's just like
Yeah.
that you know there was a connection before.
Yeah.
All this stuff came up where it was just like, I've known you. And like when we met, we're like, you feel like home. And like, I
Yeah.
don't say that to people. You know,
Yeah.
it is like the weirdest thing, but like relationships are so interesting from an energetic perspective. Like,
It
it's just
is.
so bizarre.
It is. And there's like the past life stuff of like, yeah, like you've had relationships like, with your significant other in the past. Like, all of that stuff is so crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I think about that too, of like, finding each other again. It's like all of it is so insane, and you do find those people. And then also it's like when you cut a cord with somebody, and then like people always ask like what happens after you cut the cord, and like some people do disappear, but like if it's somebody that's in your life all the time, like, it's not like they don't just disappear if it's like a family member, but like their hold on you disappears, right? Like that kind of
Yes.
shifts, the energy shifts, like you can feel that, it's tangible, like that kind of happens. Like, so, cutting the cords is really important for that, like as just like a tool. Clearing it out is really, really
Mhm.
key if you're feeling some of this energy. And if you are wondering about your relationships, like I think, doing a past life reading is
Yes.
also really, really good. Like you definitely find out a lot about your soul origin, a lot about your past relationships too.
Yeah. And like you and Rob have been in so many lives together. Like I have no idea
I
if
know.
Lauren and I have. Maybe
Oh my
she's just
God.
always been on a vacation life.
I feel like you definitely have. I know
No,
Rob and I have been together like multiple lifetimes. And I love the one where we were a lesbian couple.
you're living my life.
As we were a lesbian couple. That one I love. But yeah, like, it's so funny because again, like he's not super into the stuff, but he believes like I asked him the other day, like I was like, do you believe in all of it though? Like, do you believe that like Josh June is real? Like, do you believe all this stuff? And he was like, yes, like he believes it. But he doesn't like, practice it, but he'll do a ritual with me, like he'll get into it. But like, he's more just like open-minded and more like laid back. And I always tell him that he was like a part of the Knights Templar, and he just kind of
Hmm.
will just be like, oh, and I'm always like, you were a part of
No,
the
he
Knights
was.
Templar. Yeah, I'm like, you were a
Every
part of
time I
it.
think of Rob, I see like a sword.
Yeah,
Like it's just, I mean, it's so attached to him because he's
yeah,
such a protector.
yeah,
And Lauren, on the other hand, is like the most skeptical person. But I've asked her to, like, she won't do a ritual. She won't do any of that with me. But she is like, I can't deny the things I've seen
yeah,
like go on with you. She's like, which makes me believe. She's just like, I'm just not into it,
yeah,
And
yeah,
she's very like in her whole family, like very lighthearted, like,
yeah,
and I'm like so deep,
yeah,
and I think like, but that's again what helps balance. Like I don't know that I could be with someone just like me. I think it'd be honestly like too
right.
much.
Right. Well, that's exactly, is that like I feel like it really depends on like, yeah, like the person. Like I would kill him if he was like me. Like we would strangle each other. Like I need him to be the way that he is. But I love
Right.
learning that like, that we've found each other through lifetimes, and,
Hmm.
healed those things, and that he's let me work on him, and, that he engages with it and allows me to be me. And, that's all that I really need at this point. But, for anybody who's listening and they want to explore, come see us. Like, come see us
Yeah.
for a clearing, for a cord cutting, whatever it is that you
Past
need,
lives.
past
Yeah.
lives, we can do all of that stuff. Definitely reach out, and you're not alone. You have us. And we also want to know about NPCs. Please write to us about that. I'm really curious.
Yeah. And also like you don't need even your it does like beyond your partner, you don't need your family, you don't need your friends to be exactly like you. You just need them to support you. And if that's happening, don't think so much about it and really ask yourself, am I just judging myself and stopping myself? Because
Yeah.
that often is the case.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is like just not a good match and you need to cut that cord, which again you can come to one of us or both of us in our container. But really like look at all your relationships and try and see what aligns, what doesn't, and you know how it is supporting you on this spiritual journey. And you know again, right, about the NPCs because I'm dying to know too.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.